You bet it does. Welcome into Friday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. How about this weekend? It's the first weekend that you in Missouri can legally bet on the games.
Can legally get the bleep after it. Let's go.
And we're ready to help you out with that because Rob Veno's here at 425.
It's a legendary moment in Big Show history that Rob Veno, after all these years,
so many years of being on this station,
giving us sports betting advice, is actually now actionable in a legal way for folks to partake. So
that should be a lot of fun. So don't miss that at 425 as Rob Veno joins us. And I guess we'll have our picks too. That come your way at 5:45. So I guess you could follow that if you want.
You can follow mine.
Well,
I mean,
sure. Yeah,
have a winning record this year at least.
You're the only one in the room that does. So I mean, that's probably what you should do. But we'll have our picks of the week at 5:45 as always. But we'll preview a big weekend, Chiefs and Texans. Who you got? We'll give our predictions in a few minutes. Mizzou basketball and the border war on Sunday. How do you feel about that matchup? Our rooting guide for the conference championship weekend. Ooh, and an under the bus of very interesting reports involving Georgia and Damon Wilson that we're going to have to discuss.
This was inevitable to happen eventually.
To someone, right?
Not maybe quite this way. In the fact that now we're sort of kind of involved, or one of our players is. Here we are. We're at this point, and we'll see what happens with this. But definitely a notable story to discuss today.
Lots to get to. Call or text us with your thoughts, 875-KTGR. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show. And we're live on YouTube now, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. Also on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
So with this weekend, the Chiefs take on the Texans, and both teams need this victory. Texans and the Chiefs are just outside the AFC wildcard picture. Texans are a game out. The Chiefs are 2 games out. Chiefs most likely will be without 3 starting offensive linemen. Of course, Josh Simmons on IR. Both Jawan Taylor and Trey Smith are listed as doubtful for the game coming up Sunday night. Kicks off at 7:20 at Arrowhead Stadium. Mizzou men's basketball plays in the border war against Kansas in Kansas City at the T-Mobile Center. So hey, if you're a Mizzou and a Chiefs fan, maybe you can do that double dip. That'd be nice to do. It seems that on the Kansas side, that their star freshman Darren Peterson, who's been out for injury for quite a while, looks like they're going to try and let him be available for this game against Missouri on Sunday at noon. That is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 5th day of December 2025. Give us a call or text at 573-875-KTGR to discuss all the happenings for this weekend. Chiefs Texans line is at 3.5, Brendan, still.
I love it. It could be better, I suppose, but I think it's a delicious, tasty line, and I'm not talking about it in the way that the home fans here are going to appreciate. I, as a Chiefs backer, am terrified of this game. I do not think they're going to win.
It, again, is a bad matchup.
Yep.
It has looked a lot worse over the last few weeks because the way that the Chiefs have played, losing, 3 out of their last 4 games?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Went on
gosh.
a 3-game winning streak in the middle of October to get to 5-3.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, and they've lost 3 of their last 4. Bills, Broncos, Cowboys have been the losses. There's been a bye week in between.
Their only win was the overtime win over the Colts since
in that stretch.
October.
Yeah, since November 2nd when they lost the Bills until now, they have 1 win. 1. It's been very disappointing.
Remember like late October when they were just rolling the Raiders and they got Rashee Rice back and they thumped the Commanders and we're like, they're back, baby.
Yeah.
They're back. And then they had to play like legitimate teams and they've struggled in the month since. Like they're not losing bad to anybody.
No.
3 points to Cowboys, 3 points to Broncos, 7 points to Bills. But those are 3 playoff teams. And then they beat a playoff team that wants to be in there, the Colts, by 3, took overtime. Like, this is kind of where they are. They're stacking up against the good teams in the league, and they're doing it in a way that tells them they're in the same neighborhood as these teams, but they're not in the penthouse compared to these teams like we're used to seeing.
Well, and this is a game that you have to beat a peer, essentially, because both of these teams are challenging for the same spot. And it might come down to these two in the very end. Although we'll see how the Texans look in their divisional race, because that's in play for them now. They're only a game back of that. And so maybe you see them hop into that race, and maybe, I don't know if it helps. It probably could help the Chiefs in a way if that happens, because that could take Indianapolis out of the picture and it pits you against them in the wild card. You have a tiebreak on them. For the Chiefs, though, like, you lose this game, you start thinking about next year. Like, that's the cold, simple truth. Did not expect to be saying that in early December.
No.
By this time last year, they were mathematically clinching the division. But now are they even going to be talking playoffs, or should be talking playoffs for the rest of the year if they lose this game? And I think no.
There's no way. The Bills are 8-4. They have the Bengals this week. They still have the Patriots. But like, they're going to beat the Browns and the Jets for sure. That gets them to 10. Even if they lose the other 3, they have the tiebreak over the Chiefs. So, like, living in this world, trying to find a path if they lose to the Texans, you cannot be done and be ahead of the Bills. It just will not happen.
No.
Because they have 2 easy games, does Buffalo. The AFC South right now has the Colts as a wild card and the Texans, the team the Chiefs are playing on Sunday. So you lose to the Texans, that gets Houston to 8 wins. The Chiefs then winning out would max out at 10. The Texans also have the Raiders at home, the Cardinals at home. I don't think the Texans, I know that you're probably close to it. You would love to see the Texans do well. Of course, not at the expense of the Chiefs, in case Katie is listening. But, like, the Texans aren't losing either of those games. Whether they beat the Chargers or Colts to the end of the year, I don't know. But if the Texans beat the Chiefs, they are 10-7 at worst, in my opinion. The Chiefs cannot, there's no way to surpass the Texans. And yeah, you still play the Chargers, and maybe that's your out potentially, is them just falling off a cliff, because they've got to beat the Eagles this week. That's on Monday Night Football. So you won't know that result before the Chiefs Sunday game. And then it's the game against the Chiefs. So let's say the Chargers lose both of those, at Cowboys, host Texans, at Broncos. Like, the Chargers losing out, other than maybe one game,
that's your best shot, just in general.
But honestly, then the Colts would still have to not get to 11 wins, because they're 8-4.
Yeah.
The Jags are 8-4, but they've got the tiebreaker over you. So that's not a scenario that's particularly likely for the Chiefs. Because again, you would need to be a game ahead of the Jags. So the Jags would have to lose all but one of their remaining games. So the Colts and the Chargers are the 2 teams that I would see in play. And the Colts have Jags, Seahawks, Niners, Jags, Texans. So, like, there's an outside shot that happens. But you're talking about needing a collection of a lot of different things. It wouldn't be over. The way that I'm reading these schedules, I'm honestly surprised that I think there would even be the slimmest of paths. But if they lose this game, like, what about a team that's lost 4 of its last 5 tells you that they're about to go on the run to win their final 4 games and get lucky and sneak in with the last wild card? Not much about that proposition.
Because this was a game that I think was tailor-made for them to win at the start of the season.
It was.
And now, with the attrition that they've taken on, with the fact that their defense has been porous in some very inopportune spots, it allows a team like the Texans to have a little bit of confidence. And like, the Houston's playing their best football right now. 4 straight wins. They've taken down the Bills and the Colts, and they've done it in different buildings. So it's not even like they've benefited a lot from just being at home. Like, they went to Indianapolis and got the job done and shut down Jonathan Taylor. And I just don't see the vibes, the way that they're intersecting, favoring the Chiefs at this point. Here's the thing. I still am going to be in the camp of, okay, Texans, you're playing your best football. This is the best chance that you've probably had to go to Kansas City and get a victory. Like, a lot better than it was last year when you faced them twice, once in the regular season, once in the playoffs. A lot better than when you were facing them opening night in 2020. A lot better of a chance even when you were up 24-0 in that one playoff game. Now, this game here is the best chance they have of actually getting that victory against Patrick Mahomes that they have never gotten. And so I just need to see it to believe it in order to actually think it's going to happen, Brendan. Like, I just need to see it. So I don't like the Chiefs on the spread, but I still believe that this is a spot where the Chiefs, even with all their struggles, have still only lost once in their home building. Say that, look, let's put our foot down again. Let's try to start this run. Better late than never. Let's beat this team, and then we've got a little bit of momentum, because this is the worst matchup that they have remaining on the schedule, too. Like, get past this one, and you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel of, oh, well, don't let us get hot with these matchups we've got.
Yeah, I would say that this is the toughest remaining game, and the coalescence of how injured and banged up they are on the line versus what the Texans have done recently. That game for Buffalo, Josh Allen against Houston's defense, like he just looked bad. I mean, he had no chance, but he also couldn't do anything with what little chance he had. Like, it was decisive, and they were all over him. So I feel like you're hoping that Patrick Mahomes can win you the game. I've seen times where Mahomes just hasn't had the option to be able to do that because of how under duress he is when they don't block for him. So, yes, I think if they can find a way to do it, they're in a pretty decent spot moving forward. If they can't, it's not definitively curtains, but it's like, it feels like it won't be worth talking about until some of the other help that they'll need starts to happen. Like, you just have to go, whatever, just play each week and see where we're at in week 16. We'll wake up in week 17 and see where we're at. Maybe we beat the Broncos on Christmas. We can take a peek at the standings. But it's going to be bleak if they can't win this game.
Well, yeah, the next one would be almost the official eliminator in that sense, because it's Chargers next week, right?
So it's not almost. It would be. The Chiefs are not equipped to get in at 9-8.
No,
because of all the teams that they will have lost to at that point that are in the tiebreaker conversation. They could be equipped to get there at 10-7. I think one of the 10 needs to be the Houston game.
Yes.
Right? Based on the way it breaks down, that would then be a hard-charging Texans team. You can effectively, like we've talked about the pessimistic side of it, you can effectively take the Texans out of the playoff contention relative to the Chiefs. Like, maybe both could get in if the Texans run the table, but if you get the tiebreaker over Houston, now you've got, would it be the same record? They'd both be 7-6 at that point.
Yes. So you would hop them.
And you would hop them, and there's enough winnable games with the Chiefs still facing the Titans and the Raiders. Like, there's enough to go, the Chiefs are going to get to 10-7. I feel pretty confident if they win this game. Then your 10-7 starts to be, okay, well, we've got it over the Texans. Maybe we've got it over the Colts. Like, now maybe you throw it up in a toss-up with the Chargers, right? If you can win the second Chargers game, suddenly 10-7, Chiefs win the next two. 10-7 is actually a real potential path to get that done if they get a little bit of help and have the Colts be the other team that falls to 10-7. Jags, you'd be rooting for the Jags to win those head-to-heads against Indianapolis because you can't pass the Jags anyway. They got the head-to-head on you. So, there's the path to the Chiefs doing it at 10-7. It's very difficult to imagine if you don't have Houston as one of the teams that you can kind of stiff arm with that same 10-7 record.
Yeah, because you need to have somebody that drops out, which I think Indianapolis has a very good chance to.
And that just so happens to be a team you do have the tiebreak over as well. That's your path to going, all right, you could lose to the Broncos on Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, that could be your one remaining loss, and you say, enjoy the AFC West. We're going to beat you in the playoffs. But you beat the Texans and the Chargers. This Chiefs team is going to the playoffs. I am very confident in that. If you lose one of those two games, I am not particularly confident in that being the case.
All right, so we know what the Chiefs are up against to try and get this season saved and make the postseason somehow, but it's got to start here. But it's looking bleak. If they get it done, then why, Brendan? Why would
if they get it done?
Yeah, why would it be?
It's because they find a way to neutralize what Houston does so well defensively. Maybe the answer is Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback to ever walk the face of the earth, and a building helps him win a football game because Arrowhead's going to be ready for this one. Another way is it's just sheer dumb luck. It's really cold. Neither offense plays well, and the Chiefs are able to make the winning play. I don't love Harrison Butker in this environment either, just because of his struggles this year. If it comes down to a scary field goal that you need to get the win 13-12, like, is he going to make it? So you asked me why they would win if they did. That would be the reason. It's like they play an ugly game. They probably make some big plays defensively because, like, the Texans are no juggernaut on that side of the ball. And I'm not going to sit here and go, they're going to get to the quarterback. They're going to suddenly develop a pass rush. No, they're going to blitz a ton. Stroud is probably going to mitigate it because that's something he's done well, as we talked about yesterday. And they're going to move the ball. Red zone defense and maybe the kicking game are two things that, like, okay, if Butker surprises us and doesn't have a snafu and they bend but don't break because Stroud is dicing up the blitz, but you get into the red zone and they shore it up and maybe they win the turnover margin. Like, that's how the Chiefs win. That's the path to the Chiefs winning this game, 16-13. But even if they do that, I certainly like the Texans spread because I think I'm getting plus 3.5. So
it is interesting. If the Chiefs are able to move the football enough to consistently put themselves in the red zone, they might have a better chance of punching it in. Texans defense, excellent in most categories. Only 18th in red zone defense, though. It's middle of the pack. It's a chance for the Chiefs, at least, a team that has been pretty good in the red zone, 62%. That's good for 10th across all of the NFL, to maybe be able to punch in some chances. And like it would come down to short yardage. Like, can Kareem Hunt get the automatic 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2?
Got to have those.
Yeah, like, you have to be able to consistently get those against this defense, which great against the pass. Maybe if there's a weakness, maybe it's the run, but it's still very good.
But they're still top 6 or 8 against the run. I mean, they've been good there too.
And the Chiefs don't have a huge difference maker in the run game. So, except for Patrick Mahomes, when he needs to.
Let me go bet his rushing prop actually while we're talking about it. Because that's the angle this weekend if there is one, man.
That I think needs to be certainly addressed. But, like, if it becomes that, I actually think the Chiefs can hold up in a red zone battle. It just comes down to how many red zone chances do you get. And, like, the Texans just don't let you get to the red zone a lot of the time because they have given up the fewest amount of yards per game in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a recipe. And, like, the Chiefs don't necessarily play fast, but obviously if you're trailing, you want more possessions and opportunities. I'm not suggesting they'll be trailing, but Houston, I just was curious. They're 20th in pace seconds per play, so they don't really rush up to the line necessarily, Houston offensively. So you could see if some of those possessions get drawn out and teams are getting to the red zone, that could chew up some clock. I'm sure Houston would like to run the ball because the more you're running the ball, the more you're keeping it out of Mahomes' hands. Even though you trust your defense and know that you're lethal there, I still think that minimizing the impact that Mahomes can have is to their benefit. So, like, there's just a lot of statistical facets of this game that make me think the Chiefs are in trouble, which could be exactly why they roll it 28-10. The O-line does enough to allow Pat to have time. He throws and Rice is an animal, and they end up having a great game offensively, but I just can't imagine it. I love under 41.5. Like, the cold weather plays into that a little bit too. I just think the defenses, and I think the Chiefs defense will, like, play up to the environment of this game. I think they'll understand of, like, what it's going to be like, and that will lend itself to defense being, I think defensive players have more fun in the cold. Is that right? I think that's a reasonable take. Just like general football take. Defense has more fun in the cold because, I don't know, all you got to do is run and get the quarterback. You run and hit somebody. Maybe you don't want to hit somebody because you're cold, but
getting hit when you're cold harder when it is cold, but maybe as a defensive player, you're expecting a hit to come because you're applying the hit and the offensive player isn't necessarily initiating.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. I would love to see data on that, but it sounds right.
It's so not a database take. but it just feels like a football take. Where it's like, you know what, the Chiefs defense can go out there and have some fun. Hey, get after the quarterback, make a play for your team. It's uncomfortable out here. The Houston defense is going to have fun though too. They're going to be trying to tee off on Mahomes and get him to the ground. It's going to be some interesting conditions.
What are your predictions, Chiefs fans? 875 KTGR for Chiefs Texans on Sunday night. So what's your final score prediction then?
I'm going to say it's 16-13 Texans.
That's funny. I was going to say 16-13 Chiefs.
I'm going ugly. So even you on the spread would say, yeah, that hook
plus
could
3.5. Yeah.
Yeah. I am going to pick the Texans to win this game because I have felt this way all week. And if I'm wrong, it'll be great, right? Because I want the Chiefs to win. I want to see if they can, take this 6-6 and continue to be the thorn in the side of everybody in the NFL who thinks it's their turn. And it might not be their turn yet. But if the Chiefs don't beat the Texans on Sunday night, it might be somebody else's turn.
I don't know who I want to win.
That's so funny. The Texans have a Super Bowl defense.
Yeah.
The Texans could, in this particular AFC, there is an opening for one unit on a given team to carry a team to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs can make the Super Bowl, but they could also make it next year. I don't know if the Texans are going to be better positioned in the year, unless Stroud really levels up and they keep the defense this good. They could have a sneaky way into this thing where the defense just is that much better than everybody else, and they neutralize the opposing offenses that aren't that good. Who's going to beat them? The Colts, the Broncos, the Patriots. These highly seeded teams, they're kind of similar. Like the Patriots and the Texans, kind of similar teams in terms of I think they're led by their defense. The Texans are a worse version of what the Patriots are doing, but if you kind of money that up enough, I think the Texans could have a lane, which would lend me to say you might should root for your team. Because this could be a year where they could actually win a playoff game.
Don't get me
wrong. If Mahomes
Mahomes
isn't in the playoffs, they have a chance to advance.
Well, no, they win playoff games all the time. It's just they win
not
because
against him.
They win because they're at home because they won the worst division in the league most years. And they played on Saturday afternoon, and they played a team that had a better record than them, but it got the 5th wild card and whatever. And so, but they win that game because they're at home, and then they don't win the next one every single time.
Yeah.
I would be more interested in, do they have a chance to win a divisional game, which they've never done in their history. So that would be interesting. This would also be the first time, technically, if it is in fact a wild card path for them, that they would be a wild card team. And so they'd go on the road for their first playoff game, which I don't know.
Who knows?
But it's no, I reckon it's been fun watching the Texans last few weeks or so. I really do want to see them make hay going forward. The question is though, what's that?
You guys gonna
what's that mean for the Chiefs?
In the marriage.
Oh, marriage is fine. No, that's not.
Yeah, you guys gonna be watching together though? Is that
yes, we always have. The first NFL game, Chiefs game that we ever watched together as a couple, not even just a married couple, was Chiefs Texans opening night game 2020 after the Chiefs had won the Super Bowl.
Well, if you can make it through that, you can make it through this.
It was kind of a laugher of a game. That was the Clyde Edwards-Helaire game. That was when he went off for 100 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. We're like, oh man, Chiefs have a running back. Yeah. Let's go.
Well, he's still on the team.
He
all
is.
These years later. I mean, what do you want?
It's very
good
true.
longevity.
He's kept it going. 875 KTGR. Call or text us with your Chiefs Texans predictions. You can hear the game on 96.7 KCMQ this Sunday night with coverage starting at 6. Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com gives us his advice that you can now legally follow in Missouri. Next.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. By now, most of the leaves have probably fallen off of your trees, so they're going to look pretty bare going forward next few months. But now's a great time to get tree pruning done so that they can grow back stronger and more full once the spring comes around. Advanced Tree Solutions are your tree experts in mid-Missouri that can get that done in the most efficient and cost-effective way. Eric and his team, they know exactly how to take care of your trees and take care of your wallet at the same time. So if you need tree pruning done, go and book with him, advancedtreesolutionsllc.com. You can sign up right there. Be sure to hurry, though, because spots fill up very fast during this winter time. But also, look at the other services that he's able to provide for you, like tree removal, stump grinding, whatever else might need to be done to your trees so that they are safe and healthy. Check them out, advancedtreesolutionsllc.com. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend.
You work hard, and so should your equipment. That's why at Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, we trust Kubota, and so can you. Whether it's a Kubota tractor to manage your land, a Kubota zero-turn mower for a perfect cut, or a Kubota side-by-side to handle every task, Kubota makes work easier, smoother, and more reliable. And when it's time for maintenance, our expert service team keeps your Kubota running strong because you deserve equipment that works as hard as you do. Get the power, performance, and support you need all in one place. Visit us at 1702 Business Loop 70 East, Columbia. Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, your home for Kubota sales and service.
Well, the holidays are going to be here before you know it, and so will the family visits, the gatherings, and all the stress that comes with them. If your to-do list around the house still hasn't been touched, call Bax Homeworks. Their handyman service can take care of those little fixes, updates, and projects you've been putting off. Don't worry, you're not the only one. But that way, you can focus on what really matters. Relieve the stress now. Visit BaxHomeworks.com or find them on Facebook. Bax Homeworks. Getting your to-do list done.
Leland, I think Mom's been hitting the candy canes again. Yep, she said if you come into Bet's Jewelers and say you heard this ad on the radio, you get $100 off. $100, no minimum. No catch, any jewelry in stock. So earrings under $100? Free. Should I tell Dad or should you? Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas from Bet's Jewelers. Beautiful moments begin at Bet's. Begin at Bet's.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app now. Use Radio MO. Place your first bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promos or the promotions tab on the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's hard to believe basketball season is already here. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill reminds you that whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you just want to plop down with some friends and watch some hoops on TV, they've got a spot for you. 1851 Underground has drink specials and discount happytizers for happy hour. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
We are back here on The Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app with Andy and Brendan as we get set for what should be a very interesting weekend, both in college football and the NFL. And here to get us set for this weekend is our good friend Rob Veno over at wagertalk.com for sports from a Vegas perspective. Now, Rob, just a second, you got to remind us, you've been on this station doing hits with us for quite a while, I believe since 2008, correct?
2006.
2006. Okay, so 2006, that's 19 years. This will be the first time in your 19 years worth of doing hits on KTGR that you will be speaking to a jurisdiction of legality, baby. Let's go. We're here. We did it, Rob.
Yes, I can even applaud that from Pennsylvania, guys. Fantastic.
It's been something else, and like all of us, we have a bunch of bonus money burning in our accounts right now, so we gotta get that spent here this weekend. Let's start with the Chiefs-Texans angle. I mean, the must win really for both when you talk about the wild card race, but just the the respect that the Chiefs are still getting as a 3.5-point favorite, despite missing most likely 3 offensive line starters against that Texans pass rush. Does that add up to you, or how do you kind of view this game?
Yeah, it adds up all right, but it doesn't add up in the Chiefs' favor. I'll say that. That pass rush on the other side has been, if not the best, the second best all season long. I mean, you could argue Rams, you could argue Denver because they have the most sacks, but Houston continually applying pressure. And you know what? That team has survived having 0 offense for the majority of the season and still are in a position where they can make the playoffs. So credit to the defense, credit to D'Amico Ryans and his defensive mindset to get those guys to play the way they have. Guys, most every weekend I'm on here, I've been fairly bullish on Kansas City, but I think that's faded a little bit here, especially in this price range. More than 3 points here, 3.5. It would appear to me to be a low-scoring, field goal type game. I actually like what I've seen out of Houston the last couple of weeks where offensive progression has turned things around a little bit. They seem to move the ball a little better the past couple of games than they did to start the season. So with that in mind and with the defense in tow and with the KC banged-up offensive line, I've already played here. I played Houston. I took 4. I got a better number. I think this one opened in the 5 range and has been bet down to 3.5. But I could say anything you can get above a field goal here, I think would be of value to play the Houston side. I go back to the playoff game when Houston came into Arrowhead last year. And I tell you, the Chiefs grind that victory out. I remember laying 8, whatever the number was. I think I pushed the number in that game. Maybe it was 8 that Kansas City won by. And it was not easy. It was like pulling teeth. So Houston's used to the venue now with this particular group. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to pull the upset, but I wouldn't want to play money line here. I would take the 3.5 with the Texans. And if you're looking to play total, probably look toward under. Guys, I haven't checked your Sunday weather forecast yet. I should have done that before I came on, but you know, weather's probably going to be cold there in some form. I don't know that unless there's precipitation or wind that it's going to bother Houston too much.
Rob, I remember a terrifying safety being scored by the Texans in that playoff game that almost turned things south on us a little bit, as I can recall it. The total, I wasn't even going to try to get you to go over with this one, given the circumstances. Can I get you to go over, though, in another AFC matchup? Bengals and Bills, both teams have their quarterbacks. Can we get a high-scoring game in this one, or what's your interpretation of that matchup?
Yeah, no, I do. And that's one where I've towed the line as far as fading Cincinnati's defense all season long. I've been on Bengal games in some fashion over-related all season long, whether it be picking on the other side's team total, whether it be using Cincinnati's team total over, whether it be using the full game over. And I don't see any reason to stop now. Joe Burrow showed us last week that wasn't even really a fluid effort offensively, and they got to the 30s. So Buffalo has been, mediocre at best this season defensively, very sporadic, mostly due to that run defense, which hasn't been good. I think Cincinnati can move the football. They still can't stop anybody, though, guys. And not only the defense, but Buffalo's offense has been a little bit sporadic as well. I think they get the job done here. This number moved up to 53. I kind of had this one charted in the 55 area, so I still think there's wiggle room here for like a 31-24 style game. So I too would play over in that one.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com, sports from a Vegas perspective here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. So with some other games, one that's definitely circled in the NFC North between the Bears and the Packers. Pretty amazing what the Bears have done going on this run that they've had so far. But now going to Lambeau against the Packers team that, look, we've seen them have ups and downs this year, but still view them as a very solid contending type of team. And they're getting that respect being almost a touchdown favorite here. But is there value on the Bears? I know they're missing Roma Dunze this week. Is there still some margin that can be had for them in a game like this going on the road?
It's well known by now, guys. We all watched Bears Eagles, but the one thing that I didn't really see heading into that game. It was visible in a couple of small spots, but the ground game of Chicago, when you push Philadelphia's defensive interior around the way that they did and open up holes the way that they did, and I know a couple of them were cutbacks, guys recognizing that the backside was open and getting good runs, whether it be Menengai or DeAndre Swift. When you can push Philadelphia around like that, Green Bay is not necessarily a physical front. They're more of a pressure type front, speed, that sort of thing. I have to wonder if Ben Johnson, Rome Odunze or not, can't just go out there with his offensive front, with what they're doing in the running game, and run the football enough to cover 6.5 points. Green Bay, once again, they're getting better, but I still don't know that I trust them in this type of price range. With the offensive side getting a little bit healthier, especially at wide receiver position, maybe they'll show us point production that they haven't showed us so far this season. I have not been a believer in the Bears all season long. Probably because I just don't think Caleb Williams is consistent enough yet. But if all you have to do is hand the ball off 35 times a game and watch your offensive line cave in teams like the Eagles, Green Bay is susceptible to that as well. Turnovers aside, we don't know. Obviously, they're tough to predict, but I kind of feel like Chicago can stay with 6.5 here. And I also feel like I'm in a small boat with that opinion because colleagues of mine in this industry seem to be flocking toward the Green Bay side in this one. So we'll see. But I can't ignore what they did to the Philly defensive front, probably one of the toughest run fronts in the NFL, and they just absolutely destroyed them last week.
Rob, speaking of those Eagles, they have their issues certainly offensively right now. But when I look at the total for Monday Night Football, this is one of those 41.5 point totals that maybe you do look to attack it, or are you just too afraid right now of what the Eagles aren't producing offensively, their matchup at Los Angeles against the Chargers?
You know, what I'm more afraid of now for the Eagles is this Jalen Carter situation. We just talked about how they got caved in defensively last week by the Bears run game. If there's any coach in the NFL that has a run-first mentality and will try to expose whatever, a weakened defensive front, it's Jim Harbaugh, and rightfully so, because, you know, even without their top two tackles, guys, they've been able to do some things still. Now, Justin Herbert's hand injury is a problem as well. But again, if you can hand off and move the football, it's hard to get what we saw last week out of Philadelphia's front seven out of your mind. And like I say, without Jalen Carter now, who's doubtful for this game, it makes it even more difficult. So for me, I think the Chargers are a live bet on Monday night, plus the points, home underdog. You know, the Chargers in a favorite role are a different story, but in an underdog role, I like them. As far as total, getting back to your question, Brendan, I just feel like Philadelphia is going to have to, in some way, shape, or form, they're going to have to score points in this game. They didn't score them against the Bears, I feel like, because the Bears had the ball the entire game running the football. If that ends up being the case against the Chargers, they won't have enough chance to score points again. But the prior week against Dallas, when they blew that 21-0 lead, actually 3 of the first 4 drives, they just moved the ball with ease up and down the field. I know everybody does that against Dallas. The Chargers aren't Dallas, but they might be able to score enough to get this thing over 41.5. Like you say, that's a low number for modern-day football.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show KTGR. Let's jump to college, Robbie. SEC championship in Atlanta, rematch of Georgia and Alabama, of course, with Georgia being the slight favorite there. But with Alabama winning the prior matchup, what do you draw from that information that we got to see what could happen here?
You know, I know that it's not really going out on a limb, right, to say that these aren't vintage Alabama or Georgia teams. But I think just beyond that, they're not vintage defenses. And what's happened in the SEC, let's say the last half a dozen years, is these games of this magnitude that used to be defensive slugfests, they turn into offensive shootouts for the most part. Alabama, Georgia, the first time I think got over this number. Alabama's Ty Simpson threw really well against a Georgia secondary that's gotten better numbers statistically since that game, but the competition hasn't been great as far as pass offenses are concerned. I think Alabama could duplicate it. I think they can throw the football on Georgia. I don't have as much faith in Gunnar Stockton, but I do think Georgia finds ways to score points, and Alabama's not they're not Fort Knox defensively for sure. I got in on this one at 47.5. It's since been bumped up to 48, which that's a key number. It takes away some of your common final scores, but I could see it getting to the 51 mark. I could see you looking at a 27-24 final, something like that, 26-24 in a game where I just think the offenses could end up being the better units on the field. These aren't shutdown defenses anymore, and the totals that are, that the market provides us still kind of indicate that these are heavier defensive-minded squads than offensive. So for me, it'll probably be over. And if I had to bet side, guys, I would look to Alabama here. A little bit more to play for. Not that Georgia doesn't have a bunch to play for. I'm sure they would like to just get Alabama out of the tournament permanently by beating them here. But certainly Alabama's got motivational aspects here in this one.
Rob, I'm curious on the Big Ten championship game, how you come down on that, whether the offenses or defenses are more liable to dominate that matchup between Indiana and Ohio State.
Yeah, this one's so hard, guys, because I really, 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 and I said this on an earlier show I was on, I really want to get to the Indiana side and take the points. But I just can't get that Ohio State defense out of my head. They're so good, and they've shut down everybody this year. And I know if we go back and, do a cross-examination of their schedule, it has not been a list of who's who offensively. So maybe there's something to be had there by Indiana. I just think that one of these times, this is Curt Cignetti's, this might be his fourth opportunity against one of these elite top-tier teams. Hasn't succeeded the first three times around. But one of these times, they're going to break the door down, I just feel, and get themselves a win. Ohio State, again, just so good defensively that it's hard for me to take only 4.5 points. I wish I was getting a few more. I'd probably be happier to take Indiana in that case. But I'm just, like I say, I'm not willing to bet Ohio State here either. Total-wise, it is funny because I actually think that Curt Cignetti is just going to open up the playbook and throw caution to the wind in this one, which could mean a couple of home run shots here that work for Indiana. And, of course, with the receiving core on Ohio State, they have the opportunity to do the same. So if I were to play it either way because of the venue and the, perfect conditions, I'd probably look over. But you don't have a lot of wiggle room there with that number.
Robbie, what free pick do you like this weekend?
Well, how about we go to tonight? Because we got 4 conference championships tonight in college football. And the one I kind of like the best here, guys, is probably one that's been the least talked about. But North Texas is going to play Tulane. Both head coaches moving on. Eric Morris, John Sumrall going to better places. Both do great jobs. But Morris, what he learned from the Mike Leach tree is amazing. From Incarnate Word and Cam Ward all the way here to North Texas, their offense has been unstoppable. These two didn't play this year, so you have no recent history. And Tulane has no real game film on any differences in North Texas. The one thing that scares me about betting side is Tulane lost this game last year, so I think they'll be super anxious to go ahead and win it this time around. But the North Texas offense, to me, is the thing. And even deeper, they're both huge, high-scoring first-half teams. So I played over the total in the first half here. It's 32. It allows us for a 20-13 first half to cash a ticket. I think that's more than doable. So that'll be the best bet I leave you with here, guys, for your first week of legalized sports betting. I'm on North Texas and Tulane over 32.5 first half.
Another one of these. That's it. Yeah, that's what we need. A lot of this. No more finding a river. We are in a jurisdiction of legality officially from this point forward. It's great to be that. Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com, sports from a Vegas perspective, on Twitter at Rob Veno Sports, and go to WagerTalk.com to see all their great betting info that is now legal for you in Missouri to go and check out. Robbie, thanks for coming on the Big Show. As always, enjoy this weekend. We'll talk soon.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Big Show's on at 446 KTGR and the KTGR app. It's like we've leveled up in our conversations with Robbie now. It's just...
Well, yeah, because any of these are applicable at this point. We always touch on the big games of the week with him, but now it's even more, hey, this feels like a spot. What do you think? And, now folks can heck, you can start texting in your thoughts if you want us to get a particular thought to Rob at some point. Like it's a lot of fun to be able to add that element to it. Do it responsibly, of course, but fun to be able to do that in Missouri now.
We'll have our picks of the week coming up at 5:45. But in the meantime, under the bus next, Georgia is throwing Damon Wilson under the bus in a college football case that a lot of people in college football are going to be paying attention to. That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Jones. This local sports center update is with Lee's Tire Company. It's round and rubber. Lee sells it. Lee's Tire Company.com. Chiefs getting set to host the Texans on Sunday night. 7:10 start. You can hear that one over on KCMQ 96.7. Injury report out today. Both Trey Smith and Juwan Taylor listed as doubtful. Neither practiced today. Houston quarterback Kamari Lassiter questionable with a foot injury. Also in Kansas City on Sunday, Mizzou in Kansas renew their basketball rivalry on hardwood. 12 p.m. start. You can hear that one over on KCMQ. Jayhawk star freshman Darren Peterson is expected to play. He's been out with a hamstring injury since November 7th when he scored 22 in a loss to North Carolina. Missouri women's basketball left it late last night, winning 68-67. Shannon Dowell had the go-ahead layup with just 1 second remaining on the clock. Mizzou women's basketball is back in action Sunday, 2 p.m. against SIU Edwardsville. You can hear that one on KTGR with coverage beginning at 1:45. Blues lose last night 5-2 in Boston. Despite over 40 shots, they were not able to get it done. Up next, your ABC 17 on track forecast.
Tracking mild temperatures again tomorrow with highs back in the low 40s, even with more clouds on Saturday. We are expecting another chance of wintry precipitation Saturday night, but any chance of freezing rain or snow is mostly north of mid-Missouri. We're expecting very light, cold, liquid rain. Rain totals will be less than 1/4 of an inch, maybe a dusting of snow in our northern counties. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
This holiday season, help those who are food insecure in our community. Join KTGR during the Commerce Bank 1-for-1 Holiday Food Drive, Wednesday, December 17th. Drop off your donations from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Columbia Mall or at Buckeye in Jefferson City off Missouri Boulevard. All the money raised will go toward the food bank for Central and Northeast Missouri. Help those in need during KTGR's 1-for-1 Holiday Food Drive with Commerce Bank. Find more details on the KTGR app.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. How in the heck are we already in December? What happened?
You're telling me I'm not ready to go back to work.
Santa, what have you been doing all year?
All kidding aside, I've been prepping for the big day.
At Billiards, we've been prepping too. Just this weekend, Tom cut 500 pounds of fries. That's enough to fill your sleigh, Santa.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards! Home Broadway.
Molly, would you deliver to the North Pole?
Only if I can use your sleigh.
After splurging on matching family PJs, roughly 150 presents, and one very expensive 15-foot inflatable Santa, you're probably running a little low on Christmas coin. So let Family Pawn help for the holidays. You'll save on gaming consoles, instruments, tools, jewelry, and electronics. Don't see what you're after? Head to one of the many Family Pawn locations where you're bound to find what you need without breaking your holiday budget.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
As we wrap up the end of 2025, we always try to encourage our clients that are looking for roofs, decks, siding, windows, covered porches, or whatever the project may be, kitchens, baths, basements, just to go ahead and start the process now at the end of 25 for those of you that are looking to get projects done in the first half of 2026, because things do book up fast once the holidays are over, the new year hits, and everyone starts focusing again on getting their stuff lined up for the summer. So now's the time if you want to beat the rush. Yeah, when you get started early, you have time where we can work through budgets and ideas, and we can start with your dream wish list, and we can offer financing to complement that and get the project not only that you really want and will upgrade your home, but also that's comfortable to you budget-wise.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPP Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP Easy's 1, 2, 3. Award-winning auto collision repair. Don't wait, we're great. We work with all insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies. Yes, we work with your insurance company. New Bloomfield, Missouri. FPPBodyShop.com. 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 Fletcher, Performance and Paint.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field,
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
Wishing you a season filled with
Shake with la 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 la.
the air is merrier when you get
Shake with la 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 la.
spirits rise. In fact, they're soaring.
Shake with la, shake with la, shake with la.
Here to keep your fire roaring.
Shake with la la la.
Happy holidays from Shangri-La Dispensaries. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on The Big Show.
So it appears that Georgia is kind of throwing Damon Wilson under the bus a little bit. This story, I believe, first reported by Dan Murphy of ESPN. Georgia's athletic department is trying to obtain $390,000 in damages from Damon Wilson in what was essentially him allegedly breaking the NIL contract that he had with Georgia. This lawsuit says that he signed the contract 2 weeks before he decided to enter the transfer portal, and they paid him $30,000 for the first payment, but then this whole $500,000 contract was obviously not all paid out because he left. They went to Mizzou. And so now they're seeking $390,000 in damages. And this is really, Brendan, the first time that someone's really tried to fight, or a school has really tried to fight, a multi-year contract being breached in this way.
Well, and I read that it was 13 months. Like, was it even a multi-year deal? I don't know that it was, but their thought is, we paid him the $30,000. It was supposed to be, if it was 13 months, that would be the 390. I'm not sure where the 500.
14 months, yeah. And it would be, he would have gotten bonus payments after the portal closed, and he was still at Georgia.
Just for sticking around. Okay. So they basically are saying, we want $390,000 in damages. They didn't pay him but the $30,000.
I know.
So I can't imagine that's going to hold up. But then again, we don't know what the contract read. It will. Here's the thing. Regardless of what ends up happening here, it will be groundbreaking in the NIL saga as we know it, to how the courts ultimately rule on this. Because obviously, if you break a contract and you got paid money, you should have to pay it back. That was always my concern, thinking about high school kids that, would run and never come to campus after Mizzou was going to pay them early. But they didn't get paid. They didn't pay Damon Wilson $390,000. So I don't really think they should get $390,000 out of him, but we'll see. If the damages are deemed to be so significant, the suffering that the program suffered they did lose a really good edge rusher, so I don't know how you bear that one out. But this will be instructive into how the courts look at this.
Yeah, it is a case that will have a chance to set a precedent across college football. So everyone's going to be paying attention to it. And
Under the bus.
Far from over, obviously. And it just does not make sense that Georgia would actually get that much money from Damon Wilson. Sure, the $30,000, probably you can have that back, but the rest of it just does not add up.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
Got a couple local teams that are vying for a football state championship this weekend. Tipton's underway right now in the Class 1 final against Putnam County. Looking to make sure I got the last updates. Looked like they still had the lead towards the end of the third quarter, 19-14. So we'll see if the Cardinals can hang on and get their first ever state title there. Blair Oaks, by the way, going for back-to-back state titles. They'll be playing in the Class 2 final against St. Pius X out of Festus tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So good luck to the Falcons. But honestly, congratulations to both the Falcons and the Cardinals for getting it that far. It should not be understated how impressive that is. So good luck to them, and see if there's a state champion to celebrate here in mid-Missouri, Brendan.
And, man, for the fans watching those games, bundle up, I guess. Where they being played?
They're in St. Joseph this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I'm sure it's just as cold there as it is here.
Outdoor facility, I imagine.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, Missouri
that's always
Western.
what I think of.
Yeah.
When we get to these high school, you're in December now. Like, these are high school kids. Like, bundle up out there. Parents, bundle up.
Oh, yeah. Blankets, everything else. I mean, it does take a lot, but we'll see if they can finish the job. Tipton playing right now. Okay, update. They're up 26-14 late third quarter. How about that? All right. A little more cushion. We'll talk Mizzou border war against Kansas next on The Big Show. Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. It is getting to be holiday time, and that means slick roads a lot of the time. So make sure that your tires are in tip-top shape. If you need new ones, now's a great time to get some at Lee's Tire Company, because right now they're running a special where you can buy 2 tires and get 2 free on Mastercraft and other select brands. That's right. Buy 2 tires and get 2 free. That'll save you a ton of money. If you need new tires, or you just want to switch them out for the winter time, you can do that too with Lee's Tire Company. They have an excellent service team at all 3 of their locations that can get your car serviced for these winter months. And of course, they are the tire pros in mid-Missouri. I've gotten my new tires from Lee's Tire Company. You should do so too, especially now. Buy 2 tires, get 2 free on Mastercraft and other select brands at Lee's Tire Company on the Business Loop in Columbia, or University Garage by the MU campus, or their location in Centralia. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com.
If you've been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, this is what it sounds like to be 1,000,000 miles away. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Tremfya Guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. In clinical trials, at least 70% of patients saw at least 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks. Results may vary. Tremfya is also indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Call 1-800-526-7736 or visit Tremfya.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, Mid-Missouri's total sports station. KTGR
is Sports Center.
I'm Ed Bankin. Championship weekend begins in college football with 4 games on the schedule tonight. One of them here on ESPN Radio. We'll have the American Conference title game between number 24 North Texas and number 22 Lane. Coverage gets underway here on ESPN Radio at 7:30 Eastern. The game can also be seen on ABC beginning at 8 Eastern. Also tonight on ESPN at 7 Eastern, Troy at number 25, James Madison for the Sun Belt Championship. NFL news, the Cardinals have announced quarterback Kyler Murray is done for the year as he continues to deal with a foot injury. Meanwhile, the Commanders get Jaden Daniels back for their game against the Vikings. The Bengals will get receiver T. Higgins back for their game against Buffalo. Meanwhile, on the Rich Eisen show, former Super Bowl winning coach Bruce Arians says he believes the Bengals can still make a run.
Watch out for the Bengals, man. I just think with Joey B coming back, they're going to get on a run and win the North, and they can go on the road. They can go on the road and score points against anybody.
The Bills will be without defensive end Joey Bosa. The Bears won't have receiver Rome Odunze for their showdown with the Packers. He's out with a foot injury. World Cup draw. The United States draws Paraguay for its opening game. ESPN Radio tonight, Celtics-Lakers, bottom of the hour.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faro,
15 to the 10, to the house,
Bush,
back to the wall, and it's got her!
and Arrowhead,
Touchdown! Kansas City!
to your speakers.
This is the big show, baby!
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
So, border war this weekend as well. Mizzou basketball looking to beat Kansas in back-to-back years. But do you feel good about their chances, especially after falling at Notre Dame earlier in the week? We'll talk about who we got in a few minutes between the Tigers and Jayhawks. Who are we rooting for in college football this weekend? Conference championships will be underway tonight. You can hear some of those throughout the weekend right here on KTGR, starting with the AAC championship tonight, North Texas and Tulane. But tell us who you're rooting for at 5:25, and we'll have our picks of the week at 5:45. Get you ready for your first legal sports betting weekend in Missouri. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Border war in basketball Sunday at noon in Kansas City. Mizzou versus Kansas. Kansas star Darren Peterson expected to play. For a report on Bill Self's explanation, the quote from Self, he should be available unless he has a setback before game time. So that's going to make it tougher for a Missouri team that already didn't handle Notre Dame the way that we wanted to see in the final moments of that one. Tigers are going to be a slight underdog in this game against Kansas. I would say it's not your typical Kansas team, but if they get their best player back, I don't know. Maybe Andy can convince me otherwise, but I'm not really looking forward to Sunday the way that I normally would be for a bragging rights game. Excuse me, a border war game.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
And if I'm a Chiefs fan, I wouldn't really be looking forward to Sunday Night Football either. Chiefs-Texans, can a building win a football game? That's the task for Arrowhead Stadium, because the Chiefs against that lethal pass rush from Houston, maybe without Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor, both are listed as doubtful after missing practice again today. That's going to be a reworked offensive line. Not good against the way the Texans play defense. And C.J. Stroud is good against the blitz, which we know the Chiefs are going to have to do to try to get some pressure. Just about every statistical advantage you could find, I think the Texans have it. Maybe a building can win a football game. Otherwise, the Texans probably will.
Number 3.
So the NIL story that we inevitably thought would come is here. A player leaves a school, chooses to play elsewhere despite having a contract in place with the place he's leaving, leading to a lawsuit. Well, apparently it happened, and it involves Mizzou edge rusher Damon Wilson. This is where it gets weird, though. Georgia says they think they're entitled to $390,000, even though they only paid him $30K before he broke the contract. Look, I think Wilson should have to pay back the $30, but if a court rules that he owes the whole $390, that will change the game for the NIL saga, no doubt.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Shannon Dowell beat Cal with a last-second bucket to give Mizzou women's hoops the win last night, 68-67 over the Golden Bears. Dowell led all scorers with 25. Grace Slaughter chipped in 21. Don't look now, but Kelly Harper's group has suddenly rattled off 4 straight wins after the disappointing defeat against Troy. Tigers women's hoops getting it going, it would seem.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Stop.
LeBron James' 18-year streak of scoring 10 or more points in every NBA game he played came to an end last night, but for a good reason. I'm not a huge LeBron super fan by any means, but I loved seeing down to the wire, 8 points for LeBron. He passes it to Rui Hachimura for the game-winning buzzer-beating 3 instead of trying to get the streak to continue. The streak ends, but the Lakers win. Pretty cool.
That's The Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. Yeah, I mean, that's excellent for LeBron. Like, that's the ultimate team move there, and he passed up what probably would have been a floater shot that maybe wasn't the best percentage.
Or you drive for a foul, something like that he could have done, but
he saw
contested.
a wide open corner guy.
Yeah.
Hachimura was all alone, and he decided, you know what? You go take the final shot. And sure enough, it worked out. I did hear on Sportsmanlike today 5 to 9 here on KTGR from ESPN Radio. They were saying in their unsportsmanlike moments that there was somebody out there that bet for LeBron to have at least 10 points. And
this is a popular thing.
Right.
And has been for years because he always gets it.
Always gets it. It's
like for 18 years.
It's terrible odds. It's like minus 2,600 odds.
Yeah.
So this guy bet $15,000 on LeBron to get 10 points in that game.
I think his profit would have been like $600 or so.
$576, I think, to be exact.
Yeah. So you would have,
profit.
in theory, you do that every time for 18 years. And if you have enough money to put down on it, you win $500 every time. And like the odds have gotten even more juicy to where like sports books start to notice like LeBron not scoring like he used to. And so even at those outrageous odds, it used to be like, oh, I don't know, you bet 15 grand, you might win $75, right?
Yeah.
And so it goes up and up and up. And so people, I saw this a lot last year. It was on my For You feed on Twitter a lot, where people would be talking about, you know, tonight's the night. And they'd say, no, it's not. I'm betting $20,000 on it. And they would do this. And it's like inevitably, eventually, he's not going to score 10. And last night was the night that it was the night that it happened. So there you go.
Poor guy, whoever that was, though. Like the one night
not poor
it
guy.
Happen.
If you've got $15,000 of disposable income to be betting on something like that, you're doing okay. And I think these people do it all the time.
No, not necessarily.
I'm telling you, I have been following this story for over a year.
Okay.
The guy's going to be just fine.
All right.
I think the reason they do it is because they probably do it for just about every game. And so hopefully they've made little, you know, $200 here, $100 there to negate the loss of the 15 grand. But don't bet $15,000 on anything with that little of a return. What are we doing here?
No, don't do that. No. We try to give the best advice possible, and we will give the advice of do not do that.
That is
at all.
Juice not being worth the squeeze. Prime example right there. But I did appreciate, and after, you know, the teammates all went and mobbed the shooter, and LeBron took a minute, he kind of put his arms up and was like clearly elated in the moment that the Lakers won the game. And then, you know, people started coming up to him and giving him some love too. But it was a cool moment.
That was awesome. It was great to see that all around. 875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text. I think the game that Jason means is Mizzou, Kansas. He says, we know it will be close. Always is. Or maybe he says, no, he's talking about the Texans and the Chiefs. So like that probably will be a close game, but are we sure it goes in the Chiefs' way? A lot's going to have to break through. Mahomes has to get the ball out quick. And you do have to have some sort of rushing push in some way, shape, or form from either Pacheco or Kareem Hunt, if you ask me.
I think that's right. I don't know that I have a great degree of confidence that they will get it, but
yeah,
time will tell.
We shall see. Who you got, Mizzou, Kansas? Then that's also
Kansas.
Maybe a little bleak too.
I'm going to do the same thing I did with the Chiefs. I'm going to bury the lead, and I'm not going to bury the lead. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes talking about this game and you don't know who I'm picking. I think Kansas is going to win. I do not until they show me. It's kind of the inverse of your Texans theory. Until Mizzou shows me this year that with its collection of talent, it can beat a team like that's even halfway decent, I'm not going to predict them to do it. I am too disgruntled with what I consider to be the same mistakes and shortcomings of Dennis Gates's coaching over the years to not necessarily have been addressed in this year's team. Like there are a lot of things they did well last year where they could say, you know what, if we're not rebounding at the highest of levels, the things we're doing to turn the other team over and get into transition, like it's working. We're a good team. We exercise our identity pretty well. You get into trouble in a game like the tournament game against Drake, but largely things worked last year. I don't know what the identity of this year's team is, and if they can accomplish the philosophy to the degree that like they can do it against good competition and win. I don't think Notre Dame's a tournament team, and that's a team that they just lost to. They're probably on the bubble, but I wouldn't predict them to make the tournament. And I think as much as Minnesota did beat ranked Indiana this week, so maybe that helps your resume a little bit.
Didn't see that.
I did not think that was possible for that Minnesota team, the one that Mizzou played. But until I see Mizzou do it against a good team, I go into each game going, they're going to find a way to fall short because I don't really trust them right now in the clutch.
Yeah, you don't have a clear edge here. You could say, they can still have Jacob Cruz hit a few shots from the outside, a few more than normal, and that buoys you to a chance. But also Kansas is very good at defending the 3-point line. You could say that, that the Tigers have been excellent inside the arc as well. Actually, even better. They're 5th best in the nation, according to KenPom, at 2-point percentage inside the arc. Mark Mitchell, a big part of that. And just the fact that I think they have more length this year, they can finish at the rim a little bit better. But Kansas also blocks a whole lot of shots. And they have not more length, but a similar amount of length to what Mizzou has and can exploit that a little bit better. The thing about Kansas is that you've got to get past their defense. And with what Mizzou did offensively against Notre Dame, it wasn't awful, but your offense, the way that it is composed, was not getting you every bit that you needed to find that extra play and find that extra margin, mostly because you were missing the shooters. And so I think Kansas will know exactly how Mizzou gets into a game like this. It's trying to pepper paint touches and get as much to Mark Mitchell as you can. So, all right, let's collapse. We know that they don't have as many guys that can hurt us from the outside. Let's just make sure they don't hurt us inside. And so that all comes down to, can Jacob Cruz be the same type of shooter he's been? And then can somebody else, somebody out there, be a threat from the outside for Mizzou when they don't have Jaden Stone available to them? It could be Anthony Robinson, who has not really shown up offensively, at least, in a lot of these games. Heck, if Luke Northweather hits his first couple shots from the outside, play him. Spread the floor. Do something to have Kansas react to it. And so I think that's what you got to try and find early on in this game. Now, if you aren't able to find it, I see a hard way for Mizzou to get enough offensive production to stay with Kansas, even though this could, I would say, likely to be a lower scoring affair. But it's going to take someone who hasn't stepped up yet in a big way in a game like this for them to win this game.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. If you get Anthony Robinson's game of his season, which to now might not be a high bar to clear, maybe you get that. If you get Mark Mitchell doing what Mark Mitchell does and he makes 80% of his free throws, and the margins are going to be pretty slim, even if you get the things that you're looking for to say, like Jacob Cruz, if he shoots above average from outside, he has a hot game instead of a cold game, you're going to be in the game, I think, if you do all those things. I'm still not convinced that you're going to win the game doing all those things. Before Tuesday night's games, I had seen that it was Kansas minus 2.5 on the spread. I am currently seeing, after those two results, KU lost to UConn, but they didn't have Darren Peterson. Now he'll be back. Mizzou losing to Notre Dame. It's now 4.5, and I still don't think that's enough. I am very low belief in this one. I just don't like what I saw on Tuesday, and so I am pessimistic going into this game. I'll be rooting. If they're in a 2-possession game in the final minute, I'll be holding out hope that they're going to find a way. I just, like you said, I think there's a limited path to it on paper when you look at statistically what these two teams we believe to be right now, and Kansas is getting their best player back. So it's tough, man.
I don't know how effective he'll be, though. Is it fair to question
probably,
that?
Nah. I assume if he's ready to play, he's dealing with a hamstring. He's been out close to a month. But I assume if he is considered healthy enough to play, that he'll be a good, capable player and is a guy that people are talking about as potentially the top pick in the NBA draft. I think that's those type of players. I'm not going to go, yeah, but is his hamstring? No, I think he's going to probably be fine if he plays.
Well, here's, again, what I think it hinges on. The saving grace, the one glimmer of hope, I think it depends on Anthony Robinson, who, by the way, played really well in this game last year.
Yeah.
And I thought was the best player on the floor for Mizzou when they upset Kansas on their home floor a year ago.
Yeah, but who's your Tamar Bates this year? Because he was unbelievable
He was
in the
also
game,
very
too.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Who's your Tamar Bates? And like,
Maybe
if you
it's
look at the
Mark
box
Mitchell.
score,
Like, right?
If you look at the box score from Notre Dame, though, Cruz scored 20-something, Mitchell scored 20-something.
Yeah.
Nobody else scored above 6.
6, yeah.
Like, that is too one-dimensional. I guess technically two-dimensional, but you got 5 guys out there. Who's stepping up to, be a threat? Otherwise, KU can say, hey, here's the 2 guys that you don't let shoot or you don't let get into a good look, and
Well,
from there,
that's why the missing piece is Robinson, because Robinson was one of those players that only scored at less than 6 points. And so, like, if this game brings out the best in him, then I do think there is a way back, because at his position, him being on top of his game, I think gives you a little more value than maybe say other positions, because he's the point guard, because he can set the tone. And so
his upside is tremendous. Like, when he's on and he's not making mistakes and turnovers and decisions, he's a really good player, but he's volatile.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's not on.
And he didn't stay in the whole game against Notre Dame. He eventually fouled out. So, like, you got to stay in there for your team.
The recklessness on the fouls and the turnovers have got to be eliminated from the game for Missouri to beat Kansas. I mean, it's just that simple.
So just a lot of it depends on that. And we might see a similar type of environment like we do in bragging rights with this game.
I was wondering about that.
I
think more pro Kansas probably than bragging rights when you think of the geography.
Yeah, potentially that. But I think it's pretty close.
Yeah, but like, all of Kansas's fan base is over there, right? They're either in Kansas City or they're in the Kansas side.
Right.
And when you do bragging rights, Mizzou fans, obviously there's fans from Kansas City that may not be traveling to St. Louis to do the game, but it's a pretty good haul for Illinois fans that are like living up near Champaign, and there's Illinois fans in St. Louis. So that's why it ends up being closer to 50-50. I worry about like the St. Louis contingent not driving to Kansas City on Sunday. I say worry about it. I'm not going. Right. So
right. But
I'm just saying, as an example, like, that's a lot. That's a whole long day versus like going to Columbia for a game. A lot of St. Louis fans will do. So I don't know. I think there will be plenty of Mizzou fans there, but I think it's easier for Kansas fans to do it. And they probably think their team's better at the moment. So people are more hyped up about it's still I keep saying bragging rights. It's still the border war, but I wonder if people would be more enthused if not for like, man, why did that Notre Dame game have to finish the way that it did?
Well, yeah, if Mizzou was 9-0 going into it,
it would be you'd be fired up, man. And I'm still excited for the game, but like, I'm nervous. I'm not as confident as I wish I was.
And now you need it a little bit more too, because you either need this or Illinois now, and Illinois is just as tough a team, if not tougher.
Probably better, yeah.
To try and take down, but you need one of these 2 games. Like, otherwise, you have nothing in your non-con, and you're 10-3 going into conference play. And I think
you better win 10,
right? You
like,
better be above
least
500 in SEC play to have a shot at an.
And you better hope the league is good. Like, when you go 10-8, you better hope that the rest of the league is still near what it was last year.
Pretty darn good, just not as good as last year. And Mizzou went 10-8 last year with a Kansas win. And what else did they have last year? I mean, that was really their big non-con feather in their cap.
No real mistakes in the non-con, right?
Right, and they got a 6 seed. So, like, if you go 10-8 again in the SEC, I still think you're in.
They'll put us on
good enough to
we'll be a 9 or a 10, honestly.
But you're sweating it out more on Selection Sunday.
For sure. And your matchup is in theory, your matchup is not as favorable.
Right.
I would have taken 50 teams last year over Drake in the first round, just given the stylistic challenges of that matchup. But in theory, you're playing a less capable, a less resume-built team when you're a 6 versus a 9 or a 10. Yeah, the path is easier. Even if you do get in, you're not only sweating whether you get in, but you're also probably not in a favorable situation. So, yeah, win one of these games, and I'm going into conference play going, yeah, they're going to be fine. They can cobble together 9 or 10 wins and be in the tournament which is a good accomplishment. I'm never going to take for granted again making the NCAA tournament because of some of the lean years that we've had. So tournament year would be a resounding success, in my opinion, regardless of their seed. But so far, I've seen them beat nobody, almost lose to SEMO, and unfortunately drop a close one at Notre Dame, who I think is on the outside looking in of the legitimate bubble by the time it's all said and done. So I don't really know what to make of this team yet. They could teach me a lot, good or bad, on Sunday.
Yeah. All right, so what's the score?
Well, you had to just ask me that, put me on the spot, huh?
I did, yeah.
I was trying to find, because I think there's only one sportsbook that actually has it up as where I got that 4.5. I was looking to see what the total was. Doesn't matter. I kind of agree with you that it's not anything crazy high scoring. So I'm going to go Kansas. I think it could be similar to the one we just saw. Kansas 74, Mizzou 68. I think they play them well, but they just don't have the scoring to get over the hump. That's my concern.
Daniel texting in, this feels like last year, lost to Memphis early, then showed up against Kansas in a big game. I also think we need to stop basing this game off one game on the road that we lost. I understand the schedule isn't that tough in non-con. Other than that, I don't think Peterson will be full strength, not playing for a month. I don't have a score prediction, just want to watch this one play out.
Interesting. I'm reacting because it's the only data point. I am frustrated that we don't schedule more legitimate games.
And like Kansas has had legit games this year. They've
tons of tests. We know who they are.
Beaten Tennessee, beaten Syracuse, close losses to Duke and UConn. And yeah, like that, they are more battle tested for these tight games against real competition that Mizzou just hasn't, their group at least this year hasn't quite gotten that type of experience. Although a lot of these guys were here last year, so you would hope that they're at least driving from that. So
I agree, but I didn't like the way that a close game finished out against Notre Dame, where you gave up 2 wide open threes in the last 90 seconds. And when you did have a chance to try and tie it after that had happened, the answer to the offensive possession was Jacob Cruz just chucking up a prayer with 20 seconds left.
Like, you got to call timeout there. Like, it's just call timeout.
How many times have we said this?
Yeah, we're having more discussions about it. But all that. I think all in all, I'll say they are also close, but they lose a tight one. Yeah, I think it's more of a rock fight. 68-64. KU wins.
All right.
Yeah.
I hope we're both wrong, man. I like the mood on my Mizzou basketball thoughts would shift so dramatically because the unknown is part of the problem here. Because there are no other data points, I'm like, a team that I think is a wrong side of the bubble type of team. You lost to them on the road, played them tough, but lost. But that's the only data point. There's still a floor to this season that would concern me. Not 0-18, not like that. But if we fast forwarded to the end of the basketball season in a world in which they lose close to Kansas, lose close to Illinois, and then you tell me at the end they went 7-10 in conference, that wouldn't shock me, and I would be disappointed by it because I think they're off of last year, and with some of the returning players that you have, you'd like to think that they could cobble together, a 20-win NCAA tournament bid type of team. But would you be shocked by 7-11 and not winning any of these games? We just don't know what the floor is because we haven't seen them play enough real games that they've tested themselves with. So there's a pretty wide variance of what we could see. That's still my concern in getting too optimistic too quick.
A lot still to pad your resume with, but you now are seeing how they are responding to playing those types of teams. And so you want to stop that as quickly as possible. If you win against Kansas here, you wash away a lot of that. You wash away a lot of that stink.
Pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
If I may.
And you think you think pretty well going into Illinois in a couple of weeks afterwards, honestly. So
yep.
We'll see. It'll be on 96.7 KCMQ. Just a programming note. We'll have Mizzou women's basketball on KTGR on Sunday afternoons. That's where you can tune in to all of the hoops action on Sunday. And be sure to give us your score predictions, 573-875-KTGR. Who are you rooting for in the conference championship games this weekend? And we'll have our picks of the week at 5:45. Next.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
So, Mr. Fancy Dancy Sports Car Dude, you say you were distracted by a raccoon feasting in the road? Okay. How about the fact that you were going way too fast when there's like 5 inches of snow on the ground? Nice ditch you got there, bro. Now you need a savior, a do-over. Find your phone and just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for slide-offs. When your winter world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I70towing.com. A raccoon. Just ridiculous.
This weekend, cancel your plans. Brunch is calling at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Start with biscuits, not just any biscuits, local made, buttermilk, sweet corn, even gluten-free, smothered in scratch-made gravy, pork sausage, or the chorizo. Don't forget the loaded biscuit, fluffy omelet, drenched in gravy, stacked so high it's basically brunch art. And then there's the Dive Cristo, smoked ham, house-made raspberry jam, gooey cheese wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. The Monte Cristo wishes it was this good. Brunch Saturday and Sunday only at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Don't just eat, experience.
Hi, this is Kim with Hearing Aid Consultants and Allmake Repair Lab at 315 Ellis Boulevard in Jefferson City. From carols sung by a choir to the tearing of wrapping paper and jingling of bells, the holiday season is a time full of delightful sounds you shouldn't have to miss. If you think your quality of hearing may be turning you grinchy, come in for a free hearing evaluation so you don't miss a single jingle. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. Find us online at hearingaidconsultants.com.
A house full of family, all the kids and their cousins. Uncle Bob with a bellyache, snarfing shrimp by the dozens. When all of a sudden, the guests heard a bang. The garage door opened and surprised the whole gang. The water heater blown, now those showers were frigid, which left Uncle Bob quite rigid and livid. Then Brian Ware's sleigh pulled up in the drive, and his water restoration guy, Josh, did arrive. Disaster averted, and oh, what a sight. Once again, Brian Ware saved Christmas that night. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
Welcome to Macadoodles. Macadoodles does game day like nobody else. Whether you're tailgating or hosting a watch party, Macadoodles has you covered. With more than 3,200 wine labels, 1,500 spirits, and 600 craft and imported beers, and delivery right to your tailgate or doorstep, the days of making a beer run are over. Macadoodles delivers, providing unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Drive through today or come inside and experience our world-class customer service. Who does game day like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
When it comes to tree care, knowledge matters. And Advanced Tree Solutions doesn't just cut, they care, educate, communicate, and protect the health of your trees. From pruning to removal to planting, their expertise goes beyond the surface. They're known for properly planting trees, removing burlap and wire cages from the root ball to ensure long-term growth and strength. With expert service and yearly discounts, your trees are in good hands. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app now. Use Radio MO, place your first bet of $5 or more, and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promos or the promotions tab on the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
So, Mizzou, Kansas, who you got? Sunday at noon in Kansas City, 573-875-KTGR. Of course, if you're not going to that game and you're here in town and you want to catch future Missouri Tigers here in Columbia, well, the Norm Stewart Classic's going to have all three of Mizzou's 2026 recruiting class members for Dennis Gates on the floor, and in one case at the same time for two of them, as the Norm Stewart Classic will have Aiden Chronister's team. He's from the new school in Arkansas. He'll be playing Tony Bryant's team, Zephyr Hills Christian Academy out of Florida, for the 7 o'clock game tomorrow night at the Norm Stewart Classic at Mizzou Arena. And then after that, Jason Crow's team from Inglewood, California, will take on Principia at 8:30. So it's a cool chance to see all three of those guys in back-to-back games at the Norm Stewart Classic here in Columbia and on the floor where they'll soon be in a year from now.
That's actually really cool and kind of crazy to think that. I mean, it just shows the power of that tournament and that event every year. Like, these are not local guys. Like, they play all over the country, but they'll all be here. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, several out-of-state schools, but usually they set up a lot to where a school from Missouri will host an out-of-state school usually in this shootout. But here they're making the exception of Aidan Chronister's school and Tony Bryan's school going head-to-head. And then, of course, Principia is going to take on Jason Crow's Inglewood team. So, yeah, that's going to be really cool tomorrow. Nights, again, the first game's at 7 o'clock, and then an 8:30 right after that at the Norm Stewart Classic. By the way, an update, Tipton won. Tipton Cardinals, your Class 1 football state champions. They beat Putnam County 39-14. First ever state title for Tipton, man.
How about that?
To the Cardinals. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Very cool for that school. They'd had a few district titles here and there, but finally broke through and got the state title. So well done for the Cardinals, and good luck to Blair Oaks tomorrow as they take on St. Pius in the Class 2 championship. All right, conference championships in college football. Let's put together our rooting guide. Georgia, Alabama. Do you care? Do you want someone to win this one?
Let's make a case for either side and convince me why I should.
If you want to see if the committee will actually leave out Alabama in a certain scenario, if they get beat by enough.
I think that's probably the chaos scenario, is Bama losing big, by 17 plus, and then people, even if they don't leave Bama out, which they've kind of insulated themselves from having to do based on the movement from last Tuesday or this past Tuesday, I would say that it would just be fun to watch that unfold and watch the committee squirm about,
That'd be a way to put Notre Dame and Miami in if BYU loses.
And
right?
leave Alabama out for the second year in a row, even though they didn't deserve it last year. Like, this year they would deserve it. It would be a big, and by the way, if it happens, your playoff, one of two things is going to happen. Your playoff format structure change is going to happen quick, or it's going to be a bigger change than that, and the SEC is going to be like, we're going to blow this popsicle stand. We're not doing this anymore. Because if you leave out a team that was in the SEC championship game because of their inclusion in that game, the sport as we know it would be about to change.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that, but we do agree that there needs to be some sort of change. So I don't know, bring it on, I guess. Georgia, and I think their offense is enough to be able to do that, but also might be another 24-21, and either way, probably a great game. But yeah, I'll root Georgia for the reasons outlined above.
Here's what I'll say. Either a way to get both Notre Dame and Miami in, or to get them both out. So if BYU wins against Texas Tech, then okay, go Alabama. I want them to get their auto bid. And Georgia can stay in, and then both Notre Dame and Miami are out. So, like, the whole bickering was for nothing.
I actually want Notre Dame to be the last at-large and Miami to be left out. That is what I want to happen.
That would be the sound reasoning, yes.
Because that's what it was last week, and I want to see that the committee isn't crazy.
Yes.
But if it goes the other way, I'll be irritated, but I also don't care about Notre Dame, so, like, I shouldn't really get fired up about it. Like I've said with this conversation, I don't care about either team, so why am I just want some damn consistency, though. So that's where I am on that, is like, just
fair.
Be consistent with it, and the consistent option would be no changes to but like the sports betting odds would see Notre Dame was like a lock in Miami, and then it's getting closer and closer. Why?
No.
Hopefully that's just people, burning their money. But speaking of burning their money, like with the BYU Texas Tech thing, I already bet on Texas Tech, so I think I have to root for them. This is a little different now,
right,
but I think Texas Tech is going to win big again, like they did against BYU the last time. So that's kind of where I'm at. But if my bonus bets should happen to lose, BYU winning would be a pretty fun outcome for the Big 12 championship game. Like, nobody expects it.
No.
So it would be kind of interesting to see that happen. And then now what do you do? Because, again, there's going to be some sad teams. You know what I mean? Like, the whole Miami Notre Dame thing, forget about it unless Bama gets beat by so many. So, like, Bama losing big combined with BYU winning would be especially interesting, because they would have a problem on their hands.
You rooting for Duke?
I am I guess I am, because again, I want chaos, and Duke winning would be chaos.
That'd be chaos.
I'm not rooting against James Madison. I want them to win and win big. I would like to see them in the playoff.
Yeah, that'd be
because
nice.
they haven't really, we don't know what we would get out of them. So I'm not rooting for that level of chaos, but give me Duke to expose the ACC for what I've said for years it is. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I think that one's easy. And then I think Big Ten's easy. Indiana.
Yes, Indiana.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it matters.
Well, it
If
won't
both
matter.
teams end up, both teams are probably going to end up in that bye scenario anyway.
Yeah.
Further kind of exposing the problem with the current system. But yeah, I would like to see Indiana win. I think that would be fun.
I'd love to see Buckeye fans have another reason to irrationally hate Ryan Day.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Losing to Indiana in the Big Ten championship would be a reason.
I wonder if they would care. I wonder if they hated Indiana enough yet, because they didn't care about him for years, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State, Indiana, you never were on the same wavelength.
Right.
But is Cignetti as a presence enough would it actually get under Ohio State's skin? Would they be treating it like the 23 Cotton Bowl, where they say, "Oh, we didn't have our players"? They'll say, "Ah, we didn't care if we won this game. We're still in the bye for the playoff."
I don't know.
That's what I would predict.
It'd be very interesting. Who are you rooting for? Call or text us at 875-KTGR. We'll have our picks. What's up, Brendan?
I just want to make sure I got to say North Texas. I am rooting for.
That's a good
Go
one.
Eric Morris.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I think. Better beat me to it on the picks of the week, though. That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Jones. This live local sports center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's rounded rubber, Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Chiefs back to work this Sunday as they take on the Houston Texans. 7:10 start for that one. You can hear that over on KCMQ 96.7. Injury news: Trey Smith and Juwan Taylor both doubtful. Neither practiced this week. On the Houston side, starting cornerback Kamari Lassiter is questionable with a foot injury. Also out west in Kansas City, Missouri renewing its rivalry with Kansas on the hardwood. Game starts at noon. You can also hear it on KCMQ. Star Kansas freshman Darren Peterson is expected to play. He's been out with a hamstring injury since November 7th. And he scored 22 in a Kansas loss to North Carolina. Missouri women's basketball won in dramatic fashion last night, 68-67 over Cal. It was Shannon Dowell who beat the buzzer, a go-ahead layup with just 2 seconds on the clock. Kelly Harper's team's rattled off 4 in a row. They'll get back to work Sunday, 2 p.m. against SIUE. You can hear that one right here on KTGR with coverage beginning at 1:45. Blues lose last night 5-2 in Boston as St. Louis continues to struggle. Up next, your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
Tracking mild temperatures again tomorrow with highs back in the low 40s, even with more clouds on Saturday. We are expecting another chance of wintry precipitation Saturday night, but any chance of freezing rain or snow is mostly north of mid-Missouri. We're expecting very light, cold, liquid rain. Rain totals will be less than 1/4 of an inch, maybe a dusting of snow in our northern counties. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
This is the 2025 SEC Football Championship game.
And Alabama is heading to Atlanta again. Touchdown, Dogs are SEC champions.
Join us Saturday as the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Georgia Bulldogs vie for the SEC Championship.
And we are moments away. And as you might imagine, the energy level is super high.
Kickoff is at 3 on your home for SEC football.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
If you're fed up with promised promotions that never come through, or you simply feel overworked and underpaid, maybe it's time for a change. Make sure your job search starts at midmohires.com. There, you can browse lots of local companies hiring for their next superstar employee. Plus, these are local jobs, so you don't have to up and move your whole family just to find a job that you enjoy. If you're looking to move up the ladder, start looking at the job openings posted at midmohires.com. Great local companies hiring great local people. midmohires.com.
Kubota owners, after a busy season of mowing, hauling, and working hard, it's time to give your Kubota a little attention of its own. Schedule your Kubota winter service today, and in Boone County, enjoy free pickup and delivery with their 30-point service plan with Farm Power Lawn and Leisure. Keep your equipment ready to roll when spring comes. Call 573-442-1139 or visit fplal.com before March 1st. Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, your Kubota headquarters all year long.
It's that time of year again. Hit a deer, win a cow with FPP Body Shop. Listen, I'm not saying actively crash your vehicle into a deer, but if you do hit a deer, FPP will ease that stress with a $20 gift card to Fulton Worst House. And you'll be entered in to win the grand prize, a $500 gift card.
Man, I tell you what, winner last year had a cookout with every meat known to man. He all right?
Yeah, Billy. The winner will be popular again this year, too. With FPP, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPPBodyShop.com.
What's up, Missouri? Tony Gonzalez here. Your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook is live in Missouri. You can get in on all the action with fast withdrawals, a safe and secure app, and betting that's easy to use anywhere you go. And the best part, DraftKings keeps the excitement going with awesome promos and America's top-rated sports. Don't wait. New customers sign up today. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Let's go, Missouri. Get in the game.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KTGR. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code KTGR in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Colombia. Coco writes, "Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a three-legged lean. Well, Coco, Kretsch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside."
You know your former golf bag? It's not just holding up the weed whacker on your garage wall. It's also holding cash. Same goes for that rowing machine you swore you'd use once. At Play It Again Sports, turn your gently used gear into money in your pocket. Bring in your old golf equipment, fitness gear, softball bats, baseball cleats, and more. Cash out and keep it, or trade up to something better. Play It Again Sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
We're back here on the big show, KTGR and the KTGR app with Andy, Brendan, and producer Billy as we get set for the picks of the week. Once again, but this, for the very first time, will be our first picks within a jurisdiction of legality, Brendan. How about that?
Oh, you love it. You gotta love it, man. This is going to be a fun weekend.
So now we should be a lot better with them because people might actually follow them, I suppose.
Oh, crap. Yeah, we're not off the hook anymore.
Okay, yeah.
Although if they've been following me this year, I still think they're not doing too bad.
You've still been doing pretty well.
Out.
Yeah. You did well. All of us did pretty well last week. We all went 3-2. Brendan went 3-2. I did too, and so did the producers. I believe it was Ben last week.
Yeah, it was Ben. That's why there was a winning record. I was confused when I saw that.
There you go.
Well, that's a team player right there. Just, we'll see how it goes for the producers this time as they still are in last place, though. 34, 39, and 2. I'm at 37 and 38, and Brendan is at 41, 31, and 3 pushes.
So good.
That's very good. All right, so college football games. We've got conference championship weekend. We put 7 of them on the sheet there. And then for NFL, we have 9 games this week. So still our usual total of 16 in the football landscape. All right, let's go to tonight's college football games. We have Troy at James Madison, North Texas at Tulane, and UNLV at Boise State. Then tomorrow, BYU, Texas Tech, Georgia, Alabama, Indiana, Ohio State, and Duke and Virginia. Then in the NFL, Bengals at Bills, Colts at Jags, Steelers at Ravens, Seahawks at Falcons, Broncos at Raiders, Bears at Packers, Rams at Cardinals. Monday night game is Eagles at Chargers, and of course the Sunday night game, Texans at the Chiefs. Who goes first? We tied again. We keep doing this, and we keep not knowing who should make the first pick.
I would love the opportunity to put my money where my mouth is on the whole Chiefs thing. So I'll go first if you guys don't mind. I normally don't stump for it.
All right.
But I want to be out center, and then we'll let Andy go second, producers go third.
Okay. I think that was last week's order too. So Brendan,
okay,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm taking my shot with what's our line on Chiefs, because I'm fading them. It doesn't really matter the number.
It is -3.5 on the Chiefs side.
Yeah, and Rob Veno mentioned maybe I would be getting a better number earlier in the week, but I think the Texans are going to win this football game. So the fact that I'm getting not just a field goal, but to 3.5, I feel good about that. Texans plus 3.5. That'll be my first pick here.
Okay, very interesting. I'll go to college first, and I'll go to tonight, and I'll take North Texas. I think they're the better team.
Love it.
And I know the game is at Tulane, but this is similar situations for both sides. They're in the college football playoff if they win. That's a guarantee, essentially. They're both losing their coach. They want to play for their coach that's about to go get a better gig. And they want to keep that coach around for as long as possible. But I just think in the end, talent sort of matters in those situations. I think North Texas has more. So give me North Texas -2.5 in the American.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm also gonna look tonight. I feel like Chesney's handled this coaching situation pretty well. I know he is going to UCLA, but there hasn't been a ton of hubbub about it. I think he's going to have his Dukes ready to go tonight. I still think, I guess I'm foreshadowing, not sure if it's going to be enough depending on other results. I think the Dukes cover 23.5 tonight in Harrisonburg.
Probably right. Yeah, it's a big number.
Yeah, I kind of like
points.
I like the pick, and I also kind of like the under. I feel like normally you see big spreads being covered. It means the game's going over. I think they could just completely stifle Troy and not let them score. So that could be an interesting parlay opportunity if you're so inclined. All right, I'm back up here on the clock. I kind of feel the same way about this one. I might get burned, but I'm going to go Texas Tech -12.5 against BYU. I just think they're that much better. And when you look at the one-time Texas Tech didn't beat a team by 22 or more, which includes the BYU win, it was because they didn't have their starting quarterback. So I don't really see how the result's going to be different this time. We give you Texas Tech -12.5.
Okay, doing our picks of the week here on the big show, KTGR and the KTGR app. The Broncos are going to crush the Raiders. I mean, this is an easy just fade of a team that is absolutely dreadful. I know it's in Vegas, but the Broncos will put the clamps down on this team and win by more than 7.5 points. I was surprised that the spread was not larger. Give me Broncos -7.5 against the Raiders.
Yeah, how do we not have the marquee matchup for Sunday on this list? Titans-Browns?
Yeah,
you guys
come
ready for that
on.
one?
That was a miss by the committee. The committee, I mean, what are we doing here?
That was a miss. I know that's a barn burner. That's a lot to that packs a punch, that matchup. I know, especially for producer Billy. But sorry, man. Just go to your jurisdiction of legality, which is here.
I don't know if you guys watched the end of that Cal-Miami game, but there were some pretty questionable calls in favor of the Cal Golden Bears. That makes me think Jim Phillips is going to do everything in his power to make sure that there is an ACC team in the playoff. Virginia handled their business against Duke the first time in Durham. I think they go back to the Tar Heel State and they handle business once again. Virginia -4 in Charlotte against Duke.
We need to be listening into that
this is good.
replay. Yeah.
Not tomorrow. They're not going to turn it on tomorrow.
Oh.
No, that's fascinating. I wasn't really thinking about betting this game. I wasn't sure. Kind of figured Virginia might win close, but the logic that the ACC refs are probably the most corruptible refereeing unit in college football. I think we saw it last year with Miami. So I kind of like that call, actually, and may have to consider it now. Another call that I really like, and I'm surprised I waited till round 3 to take it. I think the Rams absolutely decimate the Cardinals this week. It is on the road, but they're looking to bounce back from losing outright to the Panthers. And I still think the Rams have their eye on the potential number 1 seed in the NFC. They've got the path to do it. I like Rams -8.5, even on the road. Stafford's going to probably even back up the MVP conversation with Drake May during May's bye week. I'm not looking forward to that.
No, that'll be a decimation, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, maybe I could go to another decimation that I think could happen. I think the Seahawks will blast the Falcons. They're a touchdown favorite on the road, but I don't see Atlanta as making that place much of a fortress. And the Seahawks have taken that show on the road several times this year and done very well. I think they handle their business to a double-digit win over the Falcons on the road. Give you Seahawks -7.
Okay.
I like the Jaguars in Jacksonville. I think they've been playing a lot better football. Colts have been, stumbling a little bit after that hot start. I think the Jaguars get things done and win that game on Sunday. So I'll take the Jags at home.
Okay, now I'm really stumbling around trying to find a pick I like. I've been pretty satisfied with all of the choices so far. Man, I want to be able to trust the Bills, but like we talked with Rob Veno, I think the over is maybe just the way I go there. Oh, boy. I think what I'm going to do... Anybody take the SEC game yet?
I was thinking about it.
No, both sides open.
Yeah, both sides are open, and I don't feel strongly about it, but I think I want a pick on this game. I think right now, Alabama's recent offense just has not been enough to lead me to believe that if Georgia really turns it on, which they have ever since the Bama loss, Georgia's averaging like 33 points per conference game. Obviously a weird one against Georgia Tech that we just saw. I think Georgia putting 35 on Texas, though, kind of showed me that Georgia's going to be able to maybe score in this game. I like Georgia -2.5. I don't love it, but I think this might be the time that Kirby Smart, other than that championship game, finally gets Alabama again.
I like it. Give me Alabama. I'm going to take them +2.5. I actually took them money line this week.
Okay.
Full disclosure.
I see literally no edge on this one, but I just wanted a stake of it, so that's fair. Yeah.
I think someone should have had a side, and now
we
both
both
sides
do.
are taken. So that's good. It's good news. Producers, round 4.
Yeah, I think people are still, holding off on Indiana because of what happened last year. I think this team is markedly better than it was last year, and they were really good last year. I don't know if Ohio State's going to be ready for the physicality. I do think they win, but I think this is a field goal game. Give me Indiana to cover in Indianapolis.
Okay.
I think Indiana wants to win this game more. I don't know how to explain
completely
that.
agree. Yes.
I think it doesn't. You're on top for so long. It's not the end of the world to Ohio State to lose this game. We know that Ohio State fans love to already tell us why times their team loss doesn't actually count. So I could absolutely see that narrative with this one.
Especially now that you don't have to win your conference championship to get that bye. So, all that likely happens if Ohio State loses close is they flip 1 and 2. Right.
Yeah. And what stinks is I love these conference championship games, but with that logic, and you're correct, I don't see the logic in continuing to play them in the current format. So we'll see if something like that ends up propelling them toward eliminating or really altering this weekend. If they do end up still both getting a bye, it's like, what's really the point? So that's interesting. I've got one more pick now that I've got to make. And I tell you what, I don't really feel too strongly about anything remaining on the board. It feels like the Ravens should be able to get back on track, but I just don't know what version of Lamar Jackson we're getting right now. Maybe I'll just go with a homer pick. I don't really trust it, but if the Bears can cover 6.5 at the Packers, I think that would be a lot of fun. Potential snow weather. Give me the Bears +6.5. I just like the number there more than anything.
It is a nice number for the Bears to get in a game like that. They just need to prove that they can hang in one like that. But, the way that they held up against the Eagles was pretty impressive. Shall see what that looks like. Oh, man. I have a bunch of half confident picks that I like, but not one that I'm fully confident in. I'll go UNLV. Why not? They might not win the game on the blue field, but it's 5.5. I think that's a big enough number.
Yeah, they got popped by Boise earlier in the year, but I will be rooting for UNLV, so I like that pick.
So it's kind of a homer pick for me, too. I would like to see them get that championship instead of Boise State. Fighting Dan Mullins, UNLV +5.5.
Still love that the Mountain West, they said they had a formula to calculate their conference champion, or the two teams that would be competing. It was like a 4-way tie. It just happens to be the two teams with the best record.
What do you know?
I love it. I love it.
And by the way, that's what the ACC should do, and I think they'll change their rules to make that happen. The formula for the Mountain West so happens to be if you play on blue turf, it'll look better on Friday night of championship weekend, so you get to play.
And UNLV's 10-2. Doesn't this feel like a Tomlin spot? They've lost 4 of their last 5. Ravens have started to find some momentum. Steelers have had the Ravens number over the past couple of years. I don't think the Steelers are good, but I think they're going to cover that 6 number. It just feels like a weird Steelers spot. I can't back it up in terms of actual play on the gridiron, but I don't know. Got to go.
Lamar is struggling right now. And if you're saying, like, okay, you got to win by at least a touchdown to get Lamar Jackson's team to cover, and he looks like a dud in the first half of this game, I'm going to be I would be really uncomfortable. So I think you're on the more conservative side, but it's also the side that could make the most sense with Lamar's recent play. I'm not starting him in fantasy. Like, I don't want anything to do with him right now.
It is kind of bleak for him. Tomlin's spot, that may have been a nice value pick there at the very end for the producers, got to say. Could be a very close game between those two. So there they are, our picks of the week. Feel free to follow them if you would like in your first full weekend of legal sports betting in Missouri. Again, just be sure to look at our season-long records and just make sure, okay, do I want to follow this guy's picks or not?
Maybe you fade Andy's picks. Let's just do it.
Well,
that way,
I'm close to 500. I'm only a game under 500. So,
hey, that's basically like a winning weekend then if you end up
get your money back,
breaking even.
It's pretty good. So, take a look at that. We'll, of course, recap our picks on Monday, and we thank you for joining us today on The Big Show. Thanks also to Rob Veno for giving his great advice over at wagertalk.com. Thanks to him for joining us last hour. And we do have some coverage of Conference Championship Weekend to bring you. Tonight, we have the AAC Championship between North Texas and Tulane. Coverage starts at 6:30 from ESPN Radio. And then tomorrow, the SEC Championship, Georgia and Alabama, kicking off at 3. And then the ACC Championship between Duke and Virginia, you can hear tomorrow night as well, right here on KTGR. Thanks for joining us today. He's Brendan. He's producer Billy. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where every